You look good today. All right. I'm really glad that we could have that moment together. So I just want to say thank you to the Mapleton Early College Prep School for inviting me, and Miss Megan Peters for saying, hey Michelle, we'd love to have you come and share a little bit about your story. This came about because I started telling her about my story, and she's like, I think our kids might like to hear a little bit more about you and about kind of where you've been and where you're going. And so I'm going to share some of that with you today. And so kind of the topic, so to speak, of what I'm going to share is about dreams. And I'm sure all of you guys have dreams, and so I want to share a little bit about the journey that I had finding and searching for my dreams. So to give you a little bit of insight, I grew up in a family where I had parents that were like, hey Michelle, every little bit was like, hey Michelle, sing another song. Hey Michelle, can you sing that song again? Can you sing it louder? We want to hear you sing the song again. So I just always was like, on videos singing these random songs, and it was really fun, and my mom would send them to my grandparents, to which of course it's like if you give a mouse a cookie. I did a song, and then they're like, hey, can you send not just one more song, but can you send like 10 more videos? I don't know if any of you even know what a video is, but it was kind of like a DVD that was more like a box that you put into another box that showed you a picture on a screen. And so my parents would like shoot these videos of me singing and talking and doing all this stuff, and then it was like, hey, now that you've sent us 10 more videos, can Michelle just move in with us and sing all the time? And so, as you can imagine, it was, potentially, it's funny when I look back at it now, I make a joke with my parents, like, I think you kind of abused me into singing and making that my dream. I say that very lightheartedly, know that that's a funny joke and you can laugh at it if you want. So, to give you a little more insight, I grew up in a family where we went to church every week, and my dad was a pastor, and so I sang at church, and then I went to school, and I sang in the little grade school choir, and my grade school music teacher said to my mom, hey, I think you should think about putting Michelle in voice lessons. And I was like, yeah, Mom, that sounds great. And she's like, okay, well, let's look at the last 10 things you tried. You tried ballet for a day, you quit. You tried t-ball and you couldn't hit the ball off the tee, so you quit. You tried soccer and you couldn't, kick the ball, so you quit. And, you're pretty okay at singing, so I stuck with that. And you took piano for a year and then you didn't like practicing, so you quit. So she's like, I don't think I'm ready to invest in voice lessons yet. But keep singing and, we'll talk about it. So we moved to California when I was going into junior high, 6th grade, and I started singing in the choir, and I sang in choir all through junior high. I started doing little plays and musicals, and I said to my mom, hey Mom, I really want to take voice lessons. And she's like, okay, fine, like I'll look for a teacher. And so I started taking voice lessons. And so I took voice lessons from 6th or 7th grade all the way through high school. And when I went into high school, I sang in 2 different choirs for all 4 years. I did 9 plays and musicals. Please don't look at me like I am the Glee Club. I wasn't. I just really, really loved to sing. And I thought, I'm pretty good at this. So when I was getting ready for college, I decided to audition for a vocal scholarship. I got a vocal scholarship. It was great. So I went to college, to this small little college in Iowa, and I went on a vocal scholarship. So part of my scholarship was I had to take 2 years of voice lessons and 4 years of choir. So I took my 2 years right away of voice lessons, kind of got them out of the way, so to speak, and then I was in choir all 4 years. And halfway through college, I had what I like to call a mid-college crisis. And you might say, Michelle, whatever does that mean? What does that mean? And so here's what it meant to me. People started saying, hey, Michelle, you're really good at singing. And I was so insecure in myself, I was like, oh no, I'm not that good at singing. Which, what does that feel? It feels like, no, but you are, you're so good. Oh my gosh, you should be on American Idol if you know what that means. And you should audition for Broadway, and you're so good. And I was like, feed me, give me more, tell me more. Because I was insecure. which the next part of this scenario will tell you a little bit more about my mid-college crisis, which was I went, after all these people kept telling me and feeding my insecurity, I went to my advisor and I said, her name was Barb. I said, Barb, so people are telling me that I'm pretty good at singing. So I'm going to quit college, and I'm moving to Nashville to be a country music singer. And she looks at me, and she looks right back at me, she's like, I think that's great. And I was like, I think she misheard me. I think she thinks I'm like going for the summer or something, because it was the end of my sophomore year. And I said, no, let me just like clarify with you. So I'm quitting college to move to Nashville, Tennessee to be a country music singer. And she's like, yeah, I heard you. I think that's great. You should go. If that's what you feel called to, you should go. And I was like, oh my gosh. I'm getting away with something, you guys. I'm getting away with something. I'm gonna move to Nashville. I'm gonna be a country music singer. So she's like, hey Michelle, I've got some stuff for you. I've got some stuff. Pull out a notepad, and I'm like, all right, you tell me, hit me with it. She's like, so do you know anyone in Nashville? And I said, as a matter of fact, I know somebody in the music business in Nashville. She's like, great. Call him tonight. Call him tonight and ask him what he thinks you should do. Like, where should you live? What's kind of some next steps that you can take? Talk to him. So I'm like, done. Call Steve. Got it. And then she's like, and maybe, here's a thought, maybe you don't have to quit college. Maybe you can just transfer. Because that would be, still keeping that safety net in your back pocket of getting that degree while still pursuing your dream. And I was like, oh my gosh, I looked for a college in Nashville many years ago, and I found one that I love, and that I would love to go there. And music's a big thing there, so call Belmont, figure out how to transfer. She gave me a few more things. I'm like, walking back to my dorm, call my mom, like, Mom, just talked to Barb, she's on board, I'm moving to Nashville. She's like, great. Okay, so let's just like take a pause here. I had an advisor, and I had my mom, my parents, okay me like quitting college and moving to Nashville to be a country music singer. Like, doesn't that like kind of blow your mind for like just a minute? Like, people were actually saying, yeah, I should follow this and do this. I mean, because here's the thing, I was ready to like shut the door on myself and went in expecting Barb and calling my mom, expecting them to shut that door too and say, hey, cool that you want to do that, but you should probably like finish college first and keep singing and stuff and then move. But they weren't. They were like, yeah, go, do it. Follow that dream, follow the passion, do it. So I call Steve. Steve's our friend in the music business, and I say, Steve, Michelle, remember we sang a couple years ago together? He's like, yeah, I remember. I say, Steve, I'm moving to Nashville to be a country music singer. And he's like, hey, that's really cool, but I don't think you need to move to Nashville to be a country music singer. And I was like, what? What do you mean I don't need to move to Nashville? Like, isn't that where all the country music people are? He's like, yeah, but let's like take a pause here real quick. What if you just start where you're at? And, to give you guys a little bit of a picture, remember this was, 10, 15 years ago, so it was a long time ago. We were beyond dial-up internet connection, okay, if you guys know what that means. But we weren't quite to where we are today, where streaming videos and Netflix and Hulu and all that is a thing yet. So what I did, is, he's like, Michelle, YouTube is this new thing. Okay, that's funny, right? YouTube's a new thing. Okay, so YouTube's a new thing, and you can post videos on there, and if you get like 100 views in a night, that means you've gone viral, and I will fly you out here myself and sign you. Okay, like 100 views, that's funny, right? Because now, it's like 100,000 views, and then you're viral or whatever. Okay, so I'm like, well, great, I'll see you in a few months. I start having all my friends start recording my videos. I go back to Barb, and I'm like, Barb, good news. Don't have to quit college, don't have to move to Nashville. I'm going to start doing this right here. She's like, cool. But here's the thing that I really want to encourage you guys in just this part of my story, is I really needed Barb to do something for me. And I'm hoping that on a large scale today, I can help you kind of start to take the steps towards this yourselves. What Barb did for me was she opened the door for me to explore. Okay, I made it a rhyme for you guys this morning, okay? So she opened the door for me to explore. So what does that mean? She said, hey, I think that's great. Instead of just shutting it down and saying, you know, Michelle, you should probably not follow that. You should probably just stay in college. No, she said, hey, love the passion, love the dream. Why don't you go find out some information about it before you make this decision? So she opened the door for me to explore, which yielded me into feeling like, oh, I don't need to move to Nashville. I can still pursue my dream right from where I'm at. And I finished college. And if you didn't know, if you couldn't tell, I did not move to Nashville. And I did not become a country music singer. Shocker, I know. But I did continue to pursue my dreams. But I could never have done that, A, because I was willing to close the door on myself, but B, she opened the door for me to look into that further, okay? So you guys, when you think about the things that you guys are passionate about, the things that you really want to pursue, the dreams that you have today, be thinking about how you can open the door. I want to open the door for you to begin taking steps towards pursuing those dreams, okay? So, back to the story, because this is, just such a funny story. So that's, that was that. I finished college. The next year, my junior year, I went back, I started to want to pursue singing a little bit more seriously in town. And so what I did was, I told you guys that I grew up in a family that went to church every week, and I went to church every week in college. And so what I did was I found this church that was like, hey, we'd love to have you come and intern. And what did that mean? They basically just needed like an assistant to help them with stuff, and it was great. So what I did is I would go to the little office and I'd do some stuff during the week, and then they were like, hey, and by the way, can you sing on the weekends? And so I started singing on the weekends. And then what happened? Then I started building my reputation. And you guys, part of pursuing your dreams, we live in this culture of instant gratification. We want our dream. I wanted to move to Nashville that day to become a country music singer. And guess what? If I moved to Nashville that day, I guarantee you, I promise you because I know myself, I would not have made it, and I would have been so crushed by the fact that I didn't make it that I would have closed singing off completely. And when you know more about what I'm going to tell you later, you're going to realize that these dreams have to come in steps. Okay? So what happened is I went to this church, I started building my reputation, and people started recognizing me as a singer. I still participated in school. I did talent shows. I did every talent show in college. I never won one, just to be clear. So, again, not the best singer, but I'm willing to say that I'm good. And so after I graduated, I moved back and actually worked for this college for 2 years. And part of my my thing was that I wanted to pick a different church to attend. So I picked this other church in town, and I literally went the first week 1. Never been there, didn't say anything to anyone about singing at all, just went. And somebody came up to me and they're like, hey, you're that girl that sings, right? Why? Because I built a reputation. I built my own reputation, right? It took time, it took diligence. Keep in mind, this is now like 3 years after I thought I was going to move to Nashville and become a country music singer. So it doesn't happen overnight, right? So I'm like, I don't know if I want to admit that I'm a girl that sings, but yeah, I'm a girl that sings. And he's like, cool, so can you sing next week? Okay. So I get up the next week and I sing my songs, and then he's like, hey, so what do you think about leading your own team? Which means you direct a band of people who were expecting me to tell them what to do. And I thought, again, I feel like I pulled the wool over people's eyes. I think they think I'm better than I am, but sure, why not? Why? Because that puts me one step closer to my dream. I was able to just take one little step at a time. And so what I want to tell you guys, open the door to explore. Start thinking about, asking people that you respect, your teachers, your advisors, your parents, the people in your life that have influence, and ask them, hey, this is a dream that I have. It might be a kind of, a big thing to bite off, but what do you think? And they're going to say, yeah, I think that's awesome. And then you're going to take these little bite-sized chunks, just little things at a time, right? That keep moving you closer and closer to what you want to pursue. So I led a band there for 2 years. Then I moved to Denver. I moved to Denver 5 years ago, you guys. And I started going to this church, and I started realizing that, at least for me, I was really passionate about singing in church. And, that might not be all your guys' things. I totally get that. Like, not for everyone, but it was for me. And so I started singing at this church. And it was awesome. And they were like, hey, do you want to lead a band? And again, I'm thinking, I have got these people fooled. I mean, I do not know why people keep asking me to do this, except that I'm like good kind of at singing. And so I led a band. And I'm going to fast forward a little bit because I want to keep talking, and I definitely want to leave time for you guys to ask me questions, because that's super fun. But so here's the deal, you guys. I had the chance to lead this band, and then I decided to go to this other church, and because I had built a reputation, and because I took bite-sized chunks, I now sing today at 8 different churches in Denver. Okay? Like, I don't just sing, thank you, you don't have to clap for me. I don't just sing. And then what else do I do? Sometimes I'll sing like at sporting events, or I sing at weddings, and I sing all these things. And so I look back to when I was a sophomore in college, when I was like, I'm quitting college to move to Nashville. And now I look at myself, 10 years later, and I'm like, wow. Like, I never thought, like, if you had asked me when I was 20 years old what I was going to do when I was 30, I would have told you, well, either I'll be super famous or I'll be living kind of a normal life. But what the cool thing is our dreams morph and they change and they take on new meaning. And so I want to encourage you guys today, open the door to explore, and when you take these bite-sized chunks and baby steps towards things, your dreams change, they morph. Your passions change, they morph. And I want to encourage you guys, just real quick while we talk about passion, I want you guys to really think about this, okay? Everybody, if I were to ask you and say, hey, what are you passionate about? Just take a moment inside your head, mentally, rhetorically, answer to yourself, what are you passionate about? Okay, everybody got it in your head? Yeah? Not? Yeah? Okay? Okay, so what are you passionate about? And then I want you to think about this. When you think about your world, not the world, your world, what are the needs in it? I'm not talking about, let's solve world hunger and let's bring water to every country and tribe and nation. No, I'm talking about in your world, what are the needs of it? And where does your passion and where do those needs come together? Okay? Because that's going to help you uncover that dream journey of where you need to go. So for me, I started realizing, people, for like 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, people have been saying, hey, Michelle, you should teach voice. And I'm going to tell you something. I have a pride problem. Sometimes my head is so big it doesn't fit through doors. And to be honest, I like to be the one with the microphone. I like to be the one on stage. And I like people watching me, which I'm sure you guys can tell this morning, I'm not uncomfortable with that, right? Okay, so people were like, Michelle, you should teach, you should teach, you should teach. And I'm like, no. Not for me. Why? Because I want to be the star of the show. Okay? So, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, I started realizing, you know what? I think actually I can have both. Because when I think about what I'm passionate about, I'm really, really, really passionate about music and singing. Like, there is nothing more life-giving to me than singing, okay, you guys? But what I also realized is there's a lot of other people who were me when I was 20, 18, 16, when I was starting to sing, that have the same vision of like, hey, I want to go to Nashville and be a country music singer. And I can help influence that, and I can help guide and direct that. And so the needs of my world started to become, there are people who want to learn to sing. And so about a year and a half ago, I had a lady who I work with who said, hey Michelle, my 2 little girls really want to start to sing, can you teach them? And I was like, I mean, I guess, like, sure, I can work with them. And then I had some other people. And then I had some more people. And so I started realizing, you know what, I have this thing, I have this really cool thing that I can share with people. I have 9 students. Now keep in mind, I work full time, like a regular job, but I have 9 students that I work with who range from ages 8 years old to 45, okay? So when you think about like me pursuing my dreams, if you would ask me 10 years ago, are you going to be a vocal coach? I would have been like, absolutely not. Why? Because I need to be in the spotlight. Today I realized, hey, I can still sing, and I'm going to show you something real quick.